Hey guys, what's up and welcome to Z Reviews Tech. I have here the UMiDiGi S2. It's a little bit of a late unboxing and a quick review, but nevertheless it is still here. This UMiDiGi S2 has pretty decent specifications. It has the Helio P25, 5000 milliamp hour battery, good camera, 64 gigs of ROM. So let's open it up and see what we have inside. I've always liked UMiDiGi's unboxing experience as well. It's very high quality. Alright, so here we have a charger. European charger. USB cable. And then here we have the phone. SIM popper. And we have a manual as well. Very good unboxing experience. I like it a lot. Let's look at the phone itself. So this phone comes with a case with it, and I like this case a lot. It's a rubber sandstone case, so it has that sandstone texture. It's smoother, but it has that sandstone texture that the OnePlus One had, and I really like it, but it's also rubbery, so you kind of twist it and turn it whatever way you want. The one thing I don't like about this case, well, two things actually. The first thing I don't like about this case is that it doesn't protect the screen. So if you look over here, the case doesn't actually form a lip above the screen. So if you drop it flat on the ground, the case is not going to protect your screen from shattering. The second thing is the cutout for this is a little bit too small. So it can be a little bit difficult to try reaching the fingerprint sensor as with the case on, because then your finger doesn't really reach it properly. So let's take the case off and look at the phone itself. I think I just made a mistake, because when I peeled the mask off, I peeled the screen protector and the mask as well, so my bad. Alright, let's look at the build quality of this phone. So I like this phone a lot. It is smooth metal, so it does resemble the Ulefone Power 3 a lot more than the Verni X, but it's still okay. You have the rubber antenna bands over here. You also have the fingerprint sensor, LED, and the dual cameras, and then the UMiDiGi logo. And here you have the power buttons, SIM slot, USB-C speakers, and no headphone jack. I see. So there's no headphone jack on the UMiDiGi S2, which is a little bit sad, but we'll have to make do with what we have. The phone itself is fairly compact. I don't quite know how big the bezels are compared to what are shown in the promotional pictures, but let's turn it on and see what we got. In the meantime, this phone is also quite light compared to the Verni X and the Ulefone Power 3, which both have 6000 milliamp hour batteries. This one has 5000, so it's not like a lot less. It's just 1000 milliamp hours less, and it's very light as well. So I'm quite impressed with this. Alright, so I've turned the phone on and I've also set up my Google account in here, and I'll talk about the software and the interface later, but first let's talk about the bezels. I'm going to open Google Play Store so you can take a closer look at the size of the bezels. So as you can see, the side bezels are not too big. They're also not too small. I do think the side bezels on this are a little tiny bit bigger than the Verni X and the Ulefone Power 3. However, the top and the bottom bezels are good. They're small, and there's not really any space to fit anything here. Maybe a capacitive buttons, but that would be a pretty tall order even for someone like Samsung or Apple. That's why they've included virtual buttons over here. And the top bezel is also pretty small as well. So all in all, this is a very compact 18 by 9 6-inch phone, and I'm very pleased with the build quality. I don't really have that many complaints about the build quality here. And also it comes with a very nice sandstone case that is good enough that you don't really need to buy another one, and it's a far cry from the usually crappy TPU cases that most companies provide along with their phones. Let's take a quick look at the screen. The display here looks very, very good, and what you see on the camera is what you see in real life. So everything you see is going to be very close to what you get on the UMiDiGi S2 when you actually look at it physically. I really like the colors on this display. They look very good. The greens at the bottom are very nice and saturated. The red rooftops are very deep and red, and the mountains, even in the background, are quite crisp and clear as well. There's very nice separation between the background and the foreground, and the yellow line on the road compared with the white line to the green are all very saturated, nice, and separated. It's a very nice sunset, and it again looks very nice. I will say that the blue looks a little bit pale compared to what I've seen on other phones, but again, it's not really much to complain about. which is very good as well. Most other phones have a little bit of trouble showing this area over here. They usually show it very blown out and overexposed, but on this phone, it actually looks very good as well. Very nice autumn trees, and you can see that the red here is very deep and saturated, and the shadows are quite contrasty as well. Now this looks very good. The brightness is a little bit high, so I'm going to turn it down, and I'll talk about that later, but the max brightness is pretty good. Turn it down to a respectable level. There, that looks a lot better. You can see that the pine needles are very well defined and the raindrops are crisp and clear, and the colors of the pine needles compared to the color of the pine needle stem over here is very well saturated and very well separated as well. So I don't really have many complaints about the display quality. The max brightness is very, very good. You turn it up all the way, it can hit 500 nits pretty easily, and as you can see, that's very, very bright. And it also has Gorilla Glass on the screen as well. Let's have a little sampling of the speaker quality here. I'm going to play this clip from Robot Chicken, and it's pretty funny, and you can also test out the audio here.
Gary, where's Jessica? Isn't today take your daughter to work day?
No one actually does that.
Gary, you promised.
Keep your head down, Jessica.
Okay, Daddy. Oh! Mr. Fuzzy Bottom!
Here you go, baby.
Who is this little girl?
Oh, Lord Vader. It's take your daughter to work day, and I know, I'm sorry for bringing her, but, my wife says I never see her, and let's be honest, she's right, okay? She's right. Do you have kids? Because, they change your world. I love my daughter.
That really hits me where I live. What have you done with those plans? Gary here never sees his daughter because of people like you. I'm so sorry you had to see that. Are you having fun being at work with your father? I know I'm scary.
Alright, so you heard a little bit of the sampling of the audio. I would say that the audio volume is incredibly loud. It's on par with a Redmi 5 Plus in terms of loudness. You can hear it in pretty much any situation, unless you're in like a space shuttle or something. The audio quality, on the other hand, is also not bad, but there are some areas where it is a little bit lacking. It does have decent clarity, it does have decent mids and highs. The bass is a little bit lacking here. There are some areas where there's supposed to be a deep explosion in that video, but there wasn't any deep explosion. It was just kind of like a tinny explosion. So the bass is definitely an area that UMiDiGi could improve in the future in their next phones. Alright, so the software here. Let me start with the things that I like because it's a pretty short list. So in terms of performance and swiping between these home screens and accessing the UI on this launcher, it's pretty smooth. It does take maybe like a minute or two for it to get this smooth after rebooting the phone, but once you do reboot, everything is very smooth as you're navigating the UI. The second thing I like about the UI here is how small the navigation bar is. Most other phones have navigation bars that are like half times bigger than this, which is very, very big and ugly, but here they have just a bare minimum for what you need for tapping on the navigation buttons, and then when you hide it, you can hide it, and when you swipe it back up, it's a very small bar that doesn't take up too much of the screen. Now, on to the things that I do not like. First of all, this launcher and everything has been skinned to look kind of like Samsung's TouchWiz, which I hate. So there isn't any app drawer. As you can see, everything is on the home screen. And even the UI here is very Samsung-like. When you open up the settings, all this is also quite Samsung-like. You have all those colorful icons that you find in those Galaxy phones. That's not as big an issue as the next one I'm going to talk about, and that will be the amount of bloatware on the device. So look at this. You have speed up, you have 360 security, and look, black tech, app cleanup, avatar master, quick touch. And then here you have freezer. This one's actually fairly useful, but still, you have clone. And when you open up the system apps, you have 9 apps, TouchPal, and App Store for UMiDiGi. So all this is useless stuff that would be much better served just getting rid of it and going with stock Android. But here, there's so much stuff that you actually cannot get rid of. So if I want to try getting rid of this, see what it says over there? System app cannot be uninstalled. But if I want to go to something else, for example, Relay, I can uninstall that just fine. And I don't want to install that because I love Reddit. But yeah, so I'm really not very happy with the software on this and all the bloatware that UMiDiGi has installed. I would prefer that UMiDiGi go back to their old methods of just using stock Android, no additional bloatware, no additional apps, just go stock. I mean, it's a lot less work for you guys as well. Let's talk about launching speeds for the Helio P25 and the UMiDiGi S2. If I launch something small that isn't in the RAM yet, there is a little bit of delay. See how it kind of sits there for a little bit before launching the app. And if I want to go to something else, for example, the Google Play Store, same thing. There's like a delay before it actually opens. It's not too big of a delay, but it is still there. I'm going to open YouTube. Same thing. See that 1 second delay? I do think that the launching speed on this is actually a little bit slower than what you find on the Verni X, which I have a review over here, and the Ulefone Power 3, and I think it's down to software optimization. This skin might be taking up more resources than it really should. Google Play Newsstand, same thing. But now, once all these apps are loaded into the RAM, now that I open it, it'll be instant. So if I go back and open Google Play Store, instant. Same thing with YouTube, instant. Same thing with Play Newsstand, instant. So that's very good, and multitasking is also very easy because of how much RAM you have. So let's play some games now. So as you can see, gaming performance is very good on Asphalt Extreme. Absolutely no problem playing games. And I was really slow in that race because of this. I didn't want to pay for the stupid microtransaction of changing oil as well. So let's talk about the fingerprint sensor now. It's on the back and it is very well situated. I don't have to adjust my hand to reach it, but it is quite slow, as you could see. It takes like almost a second or more to unlock the phone. It's very accurate. I don't think I've ever seen it not accept my finger, but it takes very, very long to unlock. Okay, I have to officially call the camera on the UMiDiGi S2 great. After spending just a short time with the camera, the photo quality is clearly on par with the Redmi 5 Plus. There is so much detail in the photos, colors are super deep and saturated and yet still true to life. It just makes photos have such an artistic and beautiful feel to them. HDR works beautifully, also propping up the dark shadows without blowing out the rest of the photo. The camera can film up to 4K video, and the quality actually ranges from great to bad in the same video. So if you're filming and you're doing close-ups and when your camera is not moving fast, the film quality is very, very good. But when you do move fast, like walking, there is a ton of motion blur. So then the camera, when moving too fast, the video quality drops like a stone. That being said, it's still a great camera, definitely better than the Verney X and the Ulefone Power 3. No question about that. So what are my thoughts about the UMiDiGi S2? To be honest, this phone is so close to being a perfect bezel-less big battery budget smartphone. It has everything. It ticks all the boxes. It has great build quality. The screen is good. The audio speakers are actually not bad. The battery life should be good, and the build quality is good. The display is good. The audio is good. It does have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. The Wi-Fi reception is not bad, and the camera takes really good photos. But there is one area where this phone falls very, very short, and that would be the software. First of all, you've got bloatware. You've got stuff and apps that you don't really need and that you don't really use that UMiDiGi has put on the phone. And you also have a skin that you cannot change. For example, if I try and replace this with Google Now Launcher, it will not let me, which is very, very annoying. And it seems like Yumi has done that on purpose because they want you to keep using this launcher and have all these apps show up on the launcher so you do start using them. And I do not like that at all. This isn't something UMiDiGi cannot change. This is an addition they have put on top of the phone, and they could just as easily switch it back to stock Android with the flip of a switch. But they won't do it, and I'm not sure why. To be honest, if they did, this would be my recommended bezel-less big battery phone to anyone, beating even the Verney X and the Ulefone Power 3, because this does have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and the camera is so much better. I want to know your thoughts on why UMiDiGi starts putting all this stuff on their phone, all this bloatware. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you hit like and you sub to my channel, that would be super awesome as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.